This is the Bates Bobcast, our weekly podcast about the week that was in Bates athletics. My name is Aaron Morse, and this week we're recapping a remarkable NCAA Championships for the Bates swimming program, as the Bobcats won 2 national titles and set another NCAA Division III record on their way to a top 10 finish. Plus, the baseball team is off to their best start in program history. A first-year thrower broke a Bates track and field record, and softball is back from Florida. All that and more coming up on the Bates Bobcast. The men's swimming team made a big splash last week at the NCAA Championships, finishing a program best 6th place at the meet. It's the first top 10 finish at NCAAs in Bates swimming history, and on Wednesday, the 400-yard medley relay team of junior Tim Johnson in the backstroke, senior captain Marrich in the breaststroke, sophomore Nate Oppenheim in the butterfly, and senior captain Max Cory in the freestyle set a new NCAA Division III record with their time of 3 minutes, 8.43 seconds, winning the first national title in a relay in school history. Somridhivej followed that performance up 2 days later by winning the national championship and breaking his own NESCAC record in the 100-yard breaststroke with his time of 51.82 seconds. The 2 national championships won by Bates are just the tip of the iceberg. Head coach Peter Casares reflects on the historic meet for the Bobcats. Well, Peter, what a weekend for the swimming and diving program, certainly in Indianapolis at the NCAA Championships, the men's team getting 6th place, and I would be remiss to not point out that Sarah Palmer by herself got 26th place there at NCAAs in the team category. But 2 national championships, the first ever in a relay. What were your kind of overall thoughts on like what you were able to witness this team do? Because I feel like you went there with hopes of winning multiple national titles, and that's what happened, and a top 10 finish, right? Which is, I know, really what's been your focus for many years, right?
Yeah, I've always felt that Bates has all the ingredients to be a contender at top 10 level, and really was taught over the last 2 decades how difficult that accomplishment really is. And so to finally achieve that for the program, for Bates, for the swimmers and divers on the team and the past athletes and the current ones is something I couldn't be more proud of. You mentioned Sarah Palmer. I know we're going to talk a lot about the men's team and their 6th place finish, but she has been a rock for us all year long, always stepping up and helping us out. And to be the lone female swimmer with 8 other guys going through the training for nationals and the resting and the preparation for it all, she did a phenomenal job balancing her love for the sport, her academics, and injuries and illness as she went through those 3 weeks, and was just as much a part of the team as anything. And to see her get a top 8 finish on the last swim, which was a huge goal of hers, is just phenomenal. And she did it in Sarah fashion, moving up at night, passing people on the last 50. And I think there was only 2 women in the entire country that had a faster last 50 than her, which shows the amount of work and training she did and the talent she has and her ability to be a major player in this country. And to get 26th out of probably 60-plus teams that were there and 45 that scored is phenomenal. So I want to give her props for sure.
Absolutely. And Somridhivej going from an unrecruited walk-on athlete who, according to the broadcast, didn't even necessarily want to swim initially in college, wasn't sure if he wanted to swim, to a national champion twice, by the way, in the relay and individually. What a story he is. And he made it look easy almost in the 100 breast, it seemed like.
Yeah, I mean, I shake my head at that. It's unbelievable. Marrich's high school coach is a really good friend of mine, and she's worked the Bobcat swim camp with us since it started in 2008. And she actually commented on the Instagram post that she can confirm he was not planning on swimming in college. He just thought he was going to go to college, and high school would be the end of his swimming career. She told him, you should at least meet with Pete if you've gotten into Bates. It's a great school. And he came into the office in April of his senior year, and we chatted about it. And I told him I'd love to see what he could accomplish. And there were several other fast breaststrokers on his team, but if he wanted to try it out and work hard and see what he could do, that this was the place for him to do that. And he showed up and held on for dear life his freshman year, but was lucky enough to be here with the likes of Nate Berry and Nate Summer and many of the other guys that had laid a path before him about going to nationals, about scoring. And he got brought to nationals his freshman year on a relay with the great thanks that he said, to his teammates for taking him there and helping him get there. And he caught the bug and he worked hard, and every single year he kind of surprised himself with what he could accomplish and realized that if he continued to think and work hard, that he could get faster. And Marrich, subscribes to, Ben Wolking's belief of being delusional and, has been telling me he's going to win a national title, even though I might be rolling my eyes and thinking about all the steps that need to get there. But it was his path and his desire, and it was just phenomenal to be around for that journey and learn from him and watch him grow and do what he did. So I could not be more proud. He did look like it was an easy win, but that guy couldn't have tried harder and was absolutely toast and exhausted after every race, but did what he needed to for the team and to bring that recognition to himself in Bates College.
Watching the 400 medley relay, NYU, I think, had a really good backstroker who had like a body length lead over the field, really, when Marrich jumps in the water for the breaststroke, and then Marrich just immediately, like in the first 50 yards, gives Bates the lead back. I mean, that was quite a remarkable split there.
Yeah, so NYU had a fifth year who just transferred in from UVA midway through the year, I believe, and started swimming with them in January. And, he was a Division I UVA, national level swimmer, and he got them out to a lead. And then Marrich jumped in and went a time that only two people at Division I's would have beaten last year. Mm-hmm. I mean, so we put our Division I national level All-American up next, and he was 4 seconds faster than NYU's breaststroker. And there goes the second and a half difference that may have existed after Tim touched the wall, and gave Nate Oppenheim a lead and some fresh water for him to go his lifetime best split, and then for Max Cory to jump in as the defending national title holder, record holder, and hold on to that lead for us. So what a special moment, and on the backs of two guys that are national champions.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you mentioned Max Cory. He sacrificed a lot for the team this year, right? I mean, last year when he won the national title in 100-yard freestyle, 400-yard freestyle relay, that would have been maybe a little bit too much. You wanted to make sure Max was able to get that national title. He did. This year, say, okay, Max, we need you on the relay. And he went on that relay, and you guys got fourth in the championship final, best finish ever for Bates in the 400 free relay. And Max was still an All-American in two individual events as well on top of that.
I think I wrote you a note, and I was like, if I was given a press conference at the end of, the meet, like you see in some other sports, I would be talking about Max Cory and what he's done for this team over 4 years. I mean, he has put his teammates on his back in relays since freshman year. Nate Berry would take us out, and Max Cory would bring it home. And, regardless of the competition, the meet, the pressure, the moment, he would take us from behind to in the front. And he's always done that for the team. And Max made a decision this year. He wanted to win that 50 with all he could, and we focused on that. And he told me, he's like, the 100 will take care of itself. I'm thinking about the 50 and the relays. And, it's really a quite, amazing moment to think that when a guy started thinking about his teammates and putting them first and getting Bates relays on the podium over and over again, and sacrificed his own glory in repeating as a national champion and breaking a record so that we could have 4 guys swim at night in the top 8. He put himself second, but in doing that became the most decorated athlete in Bates history and probably cemented himself as the most impactful relay swimmer in our history, if not the entire country, over a course of 4 years. So, that is a moment that I hope he understands, that the glory and the recognition for being the most recognized athlete in Bates history and helping the team do what it did does take that moment of putting yourself second and make you, reap the benefits and the rewards of being the best.
Yeah, I mean, I saw the celebration at the end of the 400 medley. I mean, he was pretty fired up, as you might imagine, because I know they won that national record and they got it.
They did, and they got it by, I think, over a second. Like it was phenomenal, and it's never been seen before, and it was the goal. I mean, he just wants relays, and he wants to win, and I think that, that celebration at the end was a moment where all of it came true. And to embrace that, and it was a well-deserved, and we did it with him telling us, since sophomore year that Bates could do this, and was going to do it.
Yeah, and obviously you're graduating Marrich and Max, two of the greatest swimmers in Bates history, if not the two greatest. But you still have a lot of returners who got that All-American experience, that national title experience, Tim Johnson, Nate Oppenheim, both national champs in the medley relay. John Weigel, who any other year I feel like we'd be talking more about, but because he continues to pile up the All-America performances too, right?
Yeah, John had a breakthrough meet and did not qualify individually, yet scored in that 100 free. Mm-hmm. Actually, he did qualify in the 200 free, and he held his spot there to become an All-American in the 2 free, and then moved from outside scoring range into the 100 free, which, if it's not the most difficult race to make it back in, I don't know what is. So he stepped up huge, and he did it 4 times on the last day. All of his swims were within a tenth of a second of each other. I mean, it was quite phenomenal to see the consistency and everything. And John dislocated his shoulders 3 weeks ago at CBB Championships, so he is just he's a superstar. And Max is a national record holder, and he passed the torch to John, and John's been watching and learning and waiting in the bows and ready to go. And he was essential to our successes this year. Tim Johnson was abroad for a semester and went to Portugal and found a club team and trained 5 days a week, and he was abroad both in the pool and in the classroom. And he did whatever it took to make sure that he was ready to go. And you saw him go his lifetime best swims in 50 and 100, and then in the 200 he had a phenomenal breakthrough swim, dropped over a second, was seated 3rd after the morning and got 5th in the country. I mean, to think in the entire country only 3 people can beat Tim Johnson. He went 145.1. He came in at over 150, probably like 152 in the 200 free. So 7 seconds faster. What a phenomenal moment. Nate Oppenheim wasn't invited to the meet, scored in the 100 breaststroke. And he's our butterflyer on our relay. So it just shows you like how talented he is. And he's waiting for Marrich to take off. Like John's waiting for Max, and like, I'm going to be the breaststroker on the relay next year. And John's like, I'm going to be the freestyler. And like, they got their experiences. They got their night swims. They did what Marrich and Max did their sophomore and junior years to take those steps. So it was just a phenomenal growth moment for the program, and a confidence building that this wasn't just a flash in the pan. This is something that we can come back and get after next year. Can we be top 10 2 years in a row? And, can we bring in recruiting classes that will allow us to do it for the foreseeable future? And so the ingredients there, the table's set, and now it's continuing on this journey. Yeah, the challenge is always maintaining, right? Once you reach this level, it's like, okay, now you have to figure out how to do this every year. Yeah, and that's the difference that Max and Marrich really brought to the program, where some people can look at the year they did and what they accomplished and how exhausting and difficult it was, and think to themselves, I got to do this all again next year just to equal it. And that was never on their mind. It was, what's next? What can I do more? How do I get faster? What's the next step? And so their enthusiasm and drive is exceptionally unique and wonderfully powerful message to send to a team to show what's possible if you phrase things or see things or have the right perspective of what's ahead of you and what can be accomplished. Absolutely. And want to definitely mention other 2 relay contributors. You have Nate Pierce, 400 free relay, and then Ben Wolking, 200 free relay, both All-America finishes here at NCAAs. And both, what's interesting, not in traditional routes, right? I mean, Nate Pierce was at Dartmouth last year, right? He spent a whole year away, was not on a team. And Ben Wolking, we talked about this during the Great Day Bobcast with him, and you talked about it a little bit also. I mean, and you can watch his TEDx talk online, but this was really his first year ever swimming any meets at all because of 3 open heart surgeries. Like, unbelievable to go from that to be an All-American, right? honestly, like there should be some sort of like mini series about this group of guys. I mean, like Max, like leaving behind the 100 national championships to help the team and focus on the 50. Marrich being a walk-on, John dislocating his shoulder, Tim being abroad for a semester, and like Nate Pierce, who has for years been, such a stellar swimmer and a star of Maine swimming as he grew up in this state and swam competitively. He has just been so phenomenal, and to know that he was balancing both swimming and academics, and he was at Dartmouth all last year, unable to swim on their team because of the roster rules that they have, but came back this year to go all lifetime bests and to swim a 44 on the split this year and in the last relay on the last day of the meet in the last swim of the season. Just shows you how much it mattered to him and how talented and dedicated he was. Ben Wolking, 3 heart surgeries later, never had broken 22 in the 50 free, went 21.9 in our first meet in December, went 21.6, then he went 21.3, and then he's 20.6, and he gets himself on the relay. He goes 20.3 in the relay, then he goes 20.0 on the relay, then he goes 19.8. I mean, is there a meet that we can get Ben into to see if there's what the next step is? I mean, it's been unbelievable. And he did that, in a way that, no other swimmer ever could have because of what his constraints were. And he reinvented how to train and prepare for something based on his limitations. But he had this belief that if he did it this way, and he looked and diagnosed and looked and thought about that 50 free and every angle of it, that he could get himself there. And he worked his tail off in a really unique way. And I had to tell him over and over again to, relax, stop analyzing, stop getting too into your head on this. But he kept telling me, that's the way I'm going to do it. That's the way I'm going to do it. And that was my biggest gift this year was I listened a lot to these guys, and I trusted them a lot. And we collaborated a ton. And Ben having that moment at nationals when he didn't even know if he was going to swim. And now he's an All-American national record, a NESCAC record holder, a Bates record holder, and held his own and then some on that relay, is just phenomenal. I mean, John split his best split ever leading that off. And, Marrich and Ben did the same, and Max brought it home in a race where 118 would have gotten second last year, and it got fifth this year because the talent was so deep at the Division III Nationals, which really speaks to what these guys accomplished. And I couldn't be more proud of all of them and the journeys that brought them to that moment.
I wanted to comment on the team's ability to kind of bounce back from adversity within the meet, right? Because 200 medley relay, it looked like they had broken their own record. It looked like they were national champs. And upon review, unfortunately got a DQ, but it seemed like it didn't slow them down. Next day, they were ready to go again. How'd you guys kind of handle that?
God, I'll be honest with you. It was hard.
Yeah.
They broke the national record, and they defended a swim that they did at NESCACs against the best in the highest pressure situation. And I thought everything looked good. From the sidelines, I was watching those relay takeoffs, and I know those guys are talented and they push things. But I felt like we did it. We celebrated like we did it. We felt a tremendous sense of relief and joy and just tremendous happiness. And when they said the relay was under review, I thought it was some other team. And then to find out that it was our lane that they were looking at, and that it was 0.02 seconds early on Max taking off, it was hard. And I had to do some really good soul searching and be like, we're here swimming our fastest. And this wasn't some desperation move because we weren't swimming well. This wasn't some, moment that we brought upon ourselves. It's just a moment that happened. And I told the team that night, we get to celebrate together when the moments are great, and we get to be together when the moments are really tough. And being together is the true gift in all of this. And so in the grand scheme of life, this is not something that we should be tragically upset about. We need to celebrate how fast we're swimming, and we need to celebrate that we're here together, and we need to go out and show them what Bates is all about. And we had the next morning of swimming happened, and it was the best morning in Bates history. Every single swimmer that jumped in the water made it back at night, and we had never had that many top 8 swims. And like I said, Max stepped up and said, I'm on that relay, and we're going to be top 8 in this relay. He had no ever thought of not swimming that relay. He was there for the team, and we were getting those points back in the 4 free relay, and I don't think we'd ever scored top 8 before. So he was all about it, and my gosh, it was just a moment that I hope they will take with them forever, that even when it's tough, we can be great, and if we trust in ourselves and we do things together, amazing things can happen.
I'll probably ask them this question, but I mean, Max and Marrich, their numbers are so amazing. Like, do they have any aspirations to continue to like train and try to compete at whatever might be after college?
They should. They should.
You haven't really talked to them about that, or anything?
Yeah, like we stayed focused in the present. Max has had thoughts of making an Olympic trials cut. I think long course 50 free would be really good for him because there's. It's just swimming. There's not a turn in the middle of it. And his underwaters aren't what the best short course swimmers' underwaters are. So the swimming side of things would be displayed even more. And his just amazing talent would be on display, and it could happen. But it's a crazy commitment to get after something to qualify at that level, and what this country has for great swimmers is pretty unique. So he might be celebrating and very happy with how it all ended. Marrich has been contacted by the Thailand national team through his parents because I believe his mom has roots there and he has citizenship there. And there's been some chatter about maybe getting him to a meet to see if he could, represent them at the national level at Worlds and whatnot. But those are conversations we're probably going to have this week.
Nice. And then to be named National Coach of the Year, I'm pretty sure for the first time in your career here at Bates. What did that mean to you? They announced it sounded like over the loudspeakers. Like, it was obviously a surprise, not a surprise necessarily, but like you didn't know in advance, right?
No, it's, it is probably the biggest accomplishment I could ever have asked for, and the greatest recognition from my peers on that pool deck. The national, NCAA Coach of the Year goes to the championship coach. That's just a no-brainer. They coached their team to a national title, and Greg Perini deserved that, that recognition. And so it is ridiculous to think that I got that, and it's hard because as a coach, I think, we're built in humility at some level. Like, if the kids mess up, it's our fault. If they do really well, they did it, and that's what you want. There's nothing more that I want than my swimmers to know, no matter what happens in life, they did it, and they're going to get through it, and they can count on themselves. It wasn't somebody that did it for them or led them to it. That it was them, and I look at that award, and I think to myself, I handed it to Max and Marrich and said, without your phenomenal ability, your swims, without your leadership and your vision and what you said to the team and how you coached the team, we wouldn't have this in our hands right now. I wouldn't be receiving this. And so I'm very aware of the fact that I received that in large part because of the head-turning swims that those two have created over the last 2 years at the national meet. And at the same time, I just got to take a second and be like, yo, Pete, it's been 19 years and you dreamt about being top 10 the minute you took the job, and it's been a learning curve, and you've had tremendous coaches around you, and you created a situation where this could happen, and give yourself a pat on the back. So I'm conflicted, proud, wanting to give away the recognition, wanting to take it. It's an amazing moment for me, and one that I'm not well versed in. It took me 19 years to win a NESCAC Coach of the Year, and in the same year I won an NCAA Coach of the Year award. I just am thankful that Bates attracts such wonderful people. I'm thankful for the students and coaches I got to work with. And I'm glad that I stuck with my guns and continued to try to make a moment like this happen and believe in it.
Peter Casares, head coach of the swimming and diving program at Bates, the men's team with a 6th place showing at NCAAs, easily the best finish in program history. And then Sarah Palmer for the women's team, representing quite well, 26th in the country. Thanks so much for the Bobcast. Really appreciate it.
You bet. And let's go Bobcats. Let's keep it rolling. And I know the spring sports are on their way, so here we go.
Somridhivej is our male Bobcat of the week, and he's joined by fellow senior captain Max Cory and sophomore Nate Oppenheim on this week's episode of the Bobcast. Cory, who was an individual NCAA champion last year in the 100 freestyle, talks about focusing on helping Bates win a relay title this year.
Last year was obviously amazing, and I wanted to keep that momentum going, but I've always been more focused on the relays. I've always loved swimming, especially the 400 medley relay. That's my favorite one. And so this year I knew that I wanted to be really good on those. And in addition to that, I knew this year that I wanted to focus on my 50 over my 100 freestyle. And so I kind of put all my eggs in one basket with the 50, and I dropped a good amount of time. So I was really happy with that. And, of course, we got both the medley relay national records. So overall, I'm feeling pretty great about the season, and I accomplished all the goals I had.
Yeah, the moment you touched the wall there as the anchor in the 400 medley relay, I mean, that was a great celebration. Saw it on the web feed, but tell me what was going through your mind when you saw the time pop up there.
Honestly, I knew we were going to win it, and I knew we were going to smash the record. So when I hit the wall, I'm like, all right, job's done. It wasn't really, I played it up because I like to get excited. You know, I like to get the people going, but I knew we were going to win. So I was just relieved that everything went according to plan.
Yeah, Marrich, I mean, when you jumped in the water in the 400 medley, that NYU swimmer, who I guess was a D1 transfer, had done really well in the backstroke, and you had a little bit of ground to make up, and you made up quite quickly. So tell me a little bit about your split there, because it was a big one. I think it would have been third last year in the D1 meet, right?
Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty good swim for me. It was almost near perfect. Like, there was just one small thing that could have gone better. But yeah, I saw Tim coming in. He had a great swim, and I knew that I was going to destroy the field and give Nate a good lead. So it was a fun race. It was honestly quite relieving to just win it. I honestly didn't really care what happened, but we won it. So
by not caring what happened, what do you mean by that in terms of?
I just wanted to have a good time.
Yeah,
and we had a great time.
Yeah, good time is the goal. You can't control what other people are doing, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Nate, what's it like to jump in the water and have a huge lead like that? I mean, that must be a pretty good feeling to see Marrich coming down towards you with everyone else way behind, right?
Yeah, it's a good feeling. The lane over from me is the national record holder in the 100 butterfly.
Okay, yeah.
So for me, big focus was just making sure that I keep as much ground on him as possible, so that when Max jumps in the water, he's got an easy ride to the finish.
Yeah, certainly. Marrich, I mean, the individual title, 100 breaststroke. I told Peter we kind of made it look easy, but this is something you've been working on hard for your whole time at Bates. How satisfying was that? I mean, that's a culmination of your career to you and Max are the only two now individuals to win a national title here. That's going to be pretty nice, right?
Yeah, it was honestly I was just relieved when I touched the wall and I saw I was in first. I mean, after Wednesday, the 4 med, I was just so excited, and it was hard to stay focused for the rest of the meet, but I kept it together, held it together. I was probably expected to win that event, and on the second to last lap on that race, it was honestly getting kind of close. So it was a little scary seeing how close the other guys were at the 75, but I'm just relieved I was able to bring it home.
And then Max, for the 50 free, you mentioned kind of putting your eggs in one basket. You broke the NESCAC record there. It was a PR in the 50 free, but you can't control what other people do. I mean, that battle with that Kenyan swimmer, I noticed last year he was somewhat close in that event also. So tell me a little bit about your competitors in that race. It seems like you're getting faster and faster every year, right?
I'm pretty good friends with a lot of people from those schools.
Yeah.
So Georgie, the guy that beat me in the 50, and then the guys that beat me in the 100, I kind of was joking around with them about how there's this classic story where when the 4-minute mile first got broken, then the next year, like, a ton of people broke it, and then it became such a casual thing. So I was joking around that I messed up last year. I should have just gone 43.0 and then gone 42 this year, because things really hit the fan this year.
Yeah, 100. One or two people broke that record, right?
Yeah, a bunch of people went under 43 this year. And so, I didn't win, and it didn't quite have the highs that I had last year individually, But I was still really proud with how the 50 went. I mean, I swam really well, especially on the first 25. I was definitely a lot more explosive than I was last year. And I couldn't get the job done. I didn't win, but that's why I got Marrich here. So I won the 4 medley relay, and I can still call myself the champ.
The champ and the D3 record holder in that event now.
Yeah. I only had 1 record last year, and I've got 2 this year. So I'm still pretty happy with how things went.
Yeah, certainly. And from a captain's perspective, the team as a whole getting 6th place. I know for Peter, that's very meaningful for the top 10 finish. I know it was your guys' goal as well. How much talking throughout the year was that about, getting that top 10 and really with 6th place pretty with ease in the top 10, I suppose, right?
Yeah, we've been talking about accomplishing the top 10 finish and a relay victory for as long as we've been here at Bates. So, I mean, talking about it is easy, but actually putting the work, the belief that we have in each other, that's what really brings us up there. So it's just amazing to see how far we brought the team in the last 3 years.
Yeah, Nate, and last time we had you on after the 200 medley relay set the NCAA record at NSCAC, you're like, I can't believe we have now you have 2 national records. So what's that like as a sophomore to have 2 national records already?
It's a good feeling. While I definitely have an on paper a weaker split than some of my teammates, a lot of it for me has come down to realizing that regardless of how I'm swimming, it is a team effort. And I think that over time, I've gotten better at realizing that no matter what I split, I'm a part of the relay and it can't be done without me. And I think that's given me a lot of pride in my own ability and a lot of motivation moving forward. I think that our relays, even though Max and Marrich are graduating, I think our relays are going to be stellar next year as well. We've got our B relay this year almost would have made the national meet. So
right.
I think that we've got a lot to look forward to, and I'm really excited for where the future of this team is.
Yeah, I was about to ask you about that because with these 2 guys graduating, there's still, yourself, you got John Weigel, you got Noah Katz, you've got Tim Johnson, who is in class right now but was part of this record-breaking relay also. So that's 4 very solid, very good swimmers coming back. That's got to be exciting, right? I mean, what are your thoughts on running it back next year almost, right?
Yeah, I think that Bates, more than most teams, sees constant improvement every year, regardless of who is swimming. The team always just seems to be getting better. And I think if I can split 47-4 on the 400 medley this year, there's no reason why I can't split 46-4 next year. So I think that the way that the culture and the training is set up makes me really believe in any amount of getting better and improving being possible.
Yeah, and Marrich, I mean, speaking of that, listening to the web feed, the announcer kept talking about how you've lowered your time so much since you first started at Bates. So what do you say to some of these younger guys who are looking to lower their times? Because you're kind of the classic example of someone who was able to significantly lower your time, right?
Yeah. Freshman year after I got carried to nationals by Nate Berry and this guy, Max over here, I did not think I was going to make it to this meet ever again. And I made it back 3 more times. So our team is really good at improving. We have a great history in terms of dropping time. And I just think that, there's really no limit for our team. We have a lot of talent, whether we see it now or not, but talent and improvement has always been there in our team.
Yeah, Max, tell me a little bit about your co-captain here, because I feel like you've seen him grow, right? I mean, what have you witnessed in terms of him becoming, a national champion after not even being really recruited, right?
Honestly, I know him so well, and I've been training with him for 4 years, and I still have no clue how he does it. In between this year and last year, Marrich dropped an insane amount of time, more so than any of his previous years of swimming, I think. And I wish that I knew how he did it so I could do it myself. But honestly, he's just a super smart guy. He applies himself really well. He's a really hard worker. He's not afraid to challenge the norms of training. I remember specifically at the start of the summer, I saw him working out in the gym doing plyometrics and exercises that you would probably see like a soccer player doing, for example. And I was confused and I didn't know what he was doing. And here we are, and he's the most explosive guy in that 100 breast. I mean, he just flies past the competition, so whatever he's doing works. And, yeah, he's just a super smart, very humble, very understated guy that is now on the level of guys like Andrew Wilson, an Olympian, and Derek Moss, just a little story time. I know I'm rambling here. Derek Moss was a D1 transfer my sophomore year. He came from Alabama. He previously held the fastest 50 breaststroke relay time of all time. And he was like a living legend walking around the pool deck. I would just be blown away every time I saw him swim. And that he was the talk of the town the whole sophomore year at nationals. And now Marrich whooped that dude. And now Marrich is that guy. So it's really funny to see, this walk-on who, again, really humble, really understated, is now probably one of the best swimmers of all time in Division III history. So couldn't be more proud of him.
And I want to talk about that because, Marrich, your parents are from Thailand, is that right?
Yeah.
So, there's been talk about maybe you swimming for the Thai national team at some point. I know it's a little early to talk about that 2 days after the meet, but, what are your thoughts on, continuing your career a little bit here, possibly?
Yeah, I'll take some time to think about it. I've had a great career at Bates so far. It's been great 4 years, probably the best 4 years of my life. So if I can somehow find a way to enjoy swimming again without Bates, I might consider taking it on, but I'm happy with how my career is finished.
Yeah, certainly. And Max, I was talking to Peter about this. He thinks a 50, a long pool is ideal for you. What are your thoughts on maybe continuing your career also?
If I had a breakout year this year and I kept that momentum going from last year, I'd consider it, but I think it's time for me to hang up the goggles. Like Marge said, these have been the best 4 years of my life. Mm-hmm. But life is now approaching. Me and Marge are old, and we need to get jobs and make money. And swimming does not really correlate well with professional success, I would say.
Yep. So if anyone out there is listening, me and Max, we would really like a job.
Very true.
As they say, you're open to work. Yeah, right. So, I guess the job search starts now, right? I suppose, Max?
Yes, it does. Yeah. Connect with me on LinkedIn if you're an alumni and you're listening to this.
There you go. Excellent. And Nate, as a sophomore, these two guys graduating, what have you kind of learned from them, watching them lead by example, or maybe what they've told you throughout your time here, a couple of years here at Bates?
Yeah, this is without a doubt the most inspired I've been by anything. I think just having two top-level national athletes, who are my friends, my relay team, my captains, it sets a precedent going forward that Bates is that team. And regardless of who's on it, we can be at that level. Like Marrich, we have a walk-on this year, and who's coming in with a similar situation as Marrich. Anything could happen, and it's easy for the team to be thinking that, Max and Marrich, two best swimmers graduating, it's going to be really tough for us. But I know that everybody else is working just as hard to see the goals put in or the work put in and the goals achieved that these two are, because they led such a good example over the course of this year, that I have no worries about the future of Bates Swim and Dive.
Yeah, and as I mentioned before, Tim has class right now, but Tim Johnson, the leadoff of the record-breaking relay backstroke, also broke his own Bates record in the 200 back and was top 8 in that. Maybe Max or Marge, you can speak to this because you guys both were teammates with Nate Barry, who was a great backstroker, but Tim's a record holder in the 200 back, and he's got one more year. And who's abroad this fall? Speak a little bit about him, I guess.
Yeah, that 200 back was awesome to watch. That was probably my favorite individual swim of the whole meet to watch. He was swimming next to the Virginia transfer who goes to NYU. So he kept up with him. He just looked so smooth next to him, and he really sprinted the last 50, and it was just awesome to see him come in second in that heat and drop almost a whole second from his NESCAC time. So Tim is now a record holder in 2 events. Nate Barry was never a D3 record holder by the time he graduated. So Tim is
Sorry,
now
Dave.
better than Barry. Confidently
Oh
say.
boy, I'm sure Barry's a loyal listener. Maybe, but yeah, I mean Tim's obviously got one more year to go as well. But the other thing I want to talk about was Peter Casares winning National Coach of the Year, and I saw a little video clip of all of you kind of like congratulating him on that. What was that announcement like to hear that, Max? To have your coach win that award.
I think PC winning Coach of the Year is kind of emblematic of how surprisingly impressive this year was for us. When people think about Bates College, at least on the swimming side, they certainly don't think that we're going to be placing sixth and smashing national relay records. And I think a lot of that is thanks to Coach PC and all the work he's done. And, not only PC, but also Ellen, Boomer, and my previous coach, Emma. It's really a team effort, and PC did a fantastic job of coordinating all this, all the people that have led us to this moment. And yeah, I think a big reason he won that award is because he took what is traditionally not something that you would consider possible, which is Bates College being one of the most impressive teams at the meet and coming in and scoring sixth while having half the amount of team members that the other teams have. I mean, seriously, we smoked NYU. NYU has like 50,000 student athletes to choose from. The fact that we are doing all this with the resources that we have is just really, it speaks a lot about how impressive PC and the coaching staff and the athletic department as a whole has been in allowing us to succeed at this level.
I did notice that there was a quote that was posted on Instagram, Bates non-traditional D3 power. I read that article after NESCACs, right, on Swim Swam, which is like the definitive, I think, magazine, right, about swimming. You guys, to quote The Last Dance, right, you took that personally a little bit. Is that fair?
No, I mean, honestly, I agreed with it.
Oh, okay.
I agreed with it. Yeah. Like, it's serious. We are not supposed to be doing what we're doing, and I think that's what makes it so special.
Yeah, I was just going to say, as Max said, the 5 teams who beat us, their goal is for nationals. They don't really worry about their conference meets. They don't really worry about in-season meets, dual meets. Their goal is to curate the perfect 18 swimmers to succeed on the national stage, and to compete with teams like that is really tough when, the mentality is we want to be as fast as we can the whole season. We want to send as many people as we can to the national meet, because teams like Denison, Kenyon, Emory aren't worried about sending a full roster. They will. We have to push it to at NESCACs, because we want to see those national qualifications and stuff. So I think it's really special that we can be a team that has such a different attitude towards the sport and be so successful with it, because it really shows that at the end of the day, we are just as good swimmers as anybody on that pool deck.
Well, I was going to say, speaking of other schools, I mean, Marrich, you guys finished ahead of every NESCAC school at this meet, including Williams and Tufts. I mean, that's a big statement. I don't think that's been done by Bates before either. So was that an important thing for you guys as well, to finish ahead of the fellow conference schools, really?
We weren't even thinking about that.
Okay, yeah.
I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
We knew it was going to happen. Yeah.
Kind of knew going in that was going to be the case.
Yeah.
Because the national meet sets up it better than conferences almost in terms of scoring, right, Max?
Yeah.
Is that fair?
The national meet is, I would say, it's more catered towards the top-heavy aspects of the team, while the NESCAC meet is a little bit more every single swimmer on the team counts more. And so, like I said, it's hard to compete with, Tufts in terms of their 24 versus our 24, just given the difference in size of the colleges.
But when it's only a championship and consolation final, that's when Bates shines, right, Nate?
Yeah. I would also say big shout out to the rest of the NESCAC teams.
Yeah.
There's something that happens every year at nationals, whereas these people these people that you've been competing against and have rivalries with for the whole year come together, and it's almost like one big team. And I've just become so close with so many swimmers from the NESCAC. On the last day, we do a big NESCAC cheer, and you don't really see that in any other conference. You've got big rivalries and a lot of like animosity, I think, in other conferences.
Yeah.
But the NESCAC is really, it's all love between the teams, and it's a lot of fun to cheer for so many people.
Yeah. Well, any other thoughts any of you wanted to share on, for you, the two seniors, your time at Bates, or this meet in particular you wanted to mention we haven't got to talk about yet?
Tim Johnson's going to win the 200 back next year at Nationals.
Yeah,
And the
that's
100
true.
back.
That's
And the-
true.
Maybe the 100, but definitely the 200.
I think everything we've predicted on the Bobcast has come true.
Tim
true, you gotta
Johnson's
speak
winning
it.
the 200 back. He's not here to say it himself, but he believes it too. Maybe a national record for Tim Johnson next year. We'll see.
All right,
You
you heard
also
it.
won the 200 medley relay, by the way. Even though the
Yeah,
officials may not agree, I think we won. It was an awesome race, and it was probably one of my favorite relays that I've ever swum.
Well, I was gonna say, you talked last time about how you push it right in the relays. Like it's a matter of milliseconds, Max. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, some of us push it too far.
But I mean, yeah, I watched that race too. I mean, I can't tell obviously, and it's what a swim. I mean, that was awesome to
It
watch.
was a great swim.
Yeah.
I started my career DQing a relay at Nationals, and I ended it DQing a relay at Nationals. So,
Little bookends.
it's cyclic. It's thematic.
Yeah, and I'm usually the one that people look out for or PC looks out for when I'm pushing the relay starts. And I can proudly say that I have never and I will never have DQ'd a relay at Bates College. So I'm proud of that.
There you go. All right. Max, Cory, Marrich, Somridhivej, and Nate Oppenheim, congratulations. National record holders, 400 medley relay, national champions, obviously, as well. Still national record holders in the 200 medley relay as well. And Marrich, 100 breast champion this year. Thanks so much for joining us on the Bobcast. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Junior Sarah Palmer shined for the women's team, earning All-America honors in both the 100-yard and 200-yard breaststroke events. Palmer's performances were enough to place the Bates women 26th in the country, even though Palmer was the only one at the national meet. And she is our female Bobcat of the week. Well, Sarah, kind of an interesting experience for you going to NCAAs because, first of all, I heard it was a little tough getting there. But and then once you're there, you personally have to wait a couple days to actually compete. So what are you kind of doing before you're kind of ramping up? Is there a lot of anticipation? What do you kind of do to prepare when you're really watching your teammates swim, essentially?
I was just really focusing on resting, trying to get 8 hours of sleep every night, leading up to it. Even when I wasn't swimming, I was getting in the pool, doing an ice bath, putting my feet up. I would definitely say, though, that it definitely tired me out, cheering for all my teammates. You're on the side. Even if you're not racing, it's still so much energy that you're putting into it when you're cheering. You kind of are visualizing yourself racing. So I would say, the first day watching the men's relay win the 400 medley relay, that took a lot out of me, even though I wasn't even racing. So I can even imagine how they kept on keep getting faster and faster each day. But yeah, I definitely would say just keep sticking to my own routine.
And it was kind of a cool moment I noticed because Marrich wins the national title in the 100 breaststroke, and you're about ready to swim your final, right? And you kind of give him a lot of high five as he walks by. That's kind of a cool moment for Bates. You kind of fired up for your race there?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I look up to Marrich a lot, so I'm definitely gonna be sad that he's gone next year. I feel like I try to do everything that he does. So I'm like, you want Whole Foods? You're getting Whole Foods for lunch, or you're getting Jimmy John's? And he's like, Whole Foods. I'm like, okay, I'll get Whole Foods now. Or I don't know. I kind of try to follow his footsteps. So seeing him race before me was really nice, and I'm glad I got to give him a high five and see him win that event.
Yeah, certainly. So you had the 100 breaststroke that day, and the next day you had the 200 breaststroke. The 200 breaststroke, you got top 8, 6th place, best finish ever by a Bobcat in the 200 breast at NCAA's, men or women. So tell me a little bit about what was clicking so well, especially in the 200 breast for you.
Yeah, I would say I think this year I really focused on my speed, my 50 and 100 speed, but no matter how much energy I put into my 50 and 100, my 200 always gets better. So I would say I was definitely the most confident going into that race because I won that event at NESCACs. But I would say I was really just focusing on not using up all my energy the first 100 yards so I wouldn't die at the very end. And definitely trying to stay underwater as long as I could and really work my pull out so I wasn't wasting as much energy above the water.
And in the final, I noticed, I believe you were having to swim in the very far lane, right? Does the lane matter all that much? Tell me a little bit about being on the edge like that.
Yeah, I mean, definitely being on the edge, like on lane 1 or lane 8, it doesn't benefit you, I would say. You probably could have seen like Max Cory, he was in lane 1 for his 100-yard free.
Right.
And it's really hard, obviously, to like win or kind of keep up with the big dogs in lanes 3, 4, and 5 when you're all the way in lanes 1 or 8, just because, there's momentum when you're in the middle. There's a wave that's kind of like pulling you through. So definitely being on the end lanes, like isn't the best scenario, but like obviously people like can win in those lanes. But I would say like mentally, because I knew I was in lane 1, I was like, okay, at least I have like my teammates right on the side of the pool with me. So that was nice.
And tell me about, kind of the environment overall of NCAA, sort of. I mean, because you were there representing the women's team very well individually, and then you had men's swimmers there, obviously, as well. Tell me a little bit about the experience, maybe compared to past seasons.
Yeah, it definitely was a different experience because I didn't have like a lot of my like female friends with me on the women's team, but I'm really close to the men's team, so it was good, and we were kind of lifting each other up. I really enjoy nationals because at NESCACs, all the like other NESCAC schools are kind of pitted against each other. But at nationals, we all kind of like come together. So, we're like at the last day, it was so much fun. We were cheering for Bowdoin, for Williams, for Tufts, for like Colby. We're all kind of just like cheering each other on because we all want to like represent the NESCAC like as best that we can. So I don't know. I really enjoyed like the pool environment, and then like the team that helped the team environment a lot.
Yeah, I noticed. I saw a clip of the NESCAC chant or cheer. That's a cool moment, right?
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, all the seniors go in the middle. And it's just, I don't know, it's like nice to see us all together because we're all like, again, like at NESCACs, we're all like, oh, who's gonna win? Like we're all trying to like think that we're better than each other. But like once you go to nationals, we're all just like kind of rooting for each other.
Yeah, certainly. And then for you, I mean, you're a junior, so you got another year here at Bates. Tell me a little bit about, after this great season, what are some of your goals you have in mind, moving forward for your senior year? Are you looking ahead to that yet?
Yeah, I mean, I already started talking to Marrich about like what he did last summer to try to like plan out my like summer. I feel like the off season is what helps you the most. So I'm already trying to think about what I want to do, like lifting wise, fitness wise, like nutrition wise. But yeah, I'm really excited for senior year. I talked also with Ellen, our new assistant coach, about like getting a women's relay at nationals and like how we're gonna like start moving in that direction, because I would really like to see like 1 or 2 female relays make it next year.
I was gonna say the relay was pretty close this year, right? I mean, I think you lowered your time at the final qualifier and stuff. So I mean, and that group had a couple seniors on it, right?
It was Aaron Barasonic, me, and then it was Lily Dunn on the butterfly, and then Leona Rossman on the freestyle.
Gotcha. And Leona's graduating.
Yeah, Leona's graduating. Okay. But Taylor Rolfson is going to be a junior next year, and she also went 23 in her 50 free, so she definitely will be like the freestyler if she keeps up that momentum.
Yeah. So you're excited about the relay possibilities for the women's team, it sounds like?
Yeah, it definitely also helps too, because if you're part of relays, then you get to swim. I could swim Wednesday and Thursday, so then it's definitely going to get those like nerves away and kind of get you time in the water.
Yeah, it's a balance though, right? Because you don't want to be too tired by the time, because the 200 breast is the final day, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to be too tired by the time you swim that, right?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think for some people, the more races that they do, the worse. But definitely, I know I've figured out with myself that the more races I do, the better I get. And like, Peter Casares like also kind of notices that too. Like, whenever we do practices, like if we do 3 rounds of something, the first 2 rounds, I'm usually like pretty slow, and then the last round I kind of get faster, usually as people taper off. So I think definitely next year, the more swims I have, then it should benefit me.
Yeah, I love how also in your races you seem to always take down some people in the final 50, right? You finish strong.
Yeah, I definitely like to save it to the last like 50 or 25 yards. I definitely was having troubles this year doing that. I think I was just like really overexhausted. And the lack of sleep was catching up to me. But yeah, I definitely would say like I try to save it to the very end.
And I know Peter, he was named, it was men's coach of the year, but that's really like, you feel like it's almost like coach of the year overall almost. But I mean, what's that like to see that moment happen?
That was real. We were like kind of joking. We're like, okay, PC, if you win this, like you have to jump in the pool. And then he won, and obviously he did not jump in the pool. And we were all like, come on, like get in. But it was really exciting. I mean, he's worked really hard this season, him and Boomer and Ellen, like our 3 coaching staff. So I think it was really good to see like them get the recognition that they deserve, because they put so much like time and energy into the program, especially like behind the scenes, making sure that we have the best food, like a good hotel, all the traveling stuff. Like they do so many little things. So I think just seeing them get like that recognition and like the big like D3 like meet of the year, it was really nice.
What's kind of cool also is like you individually were the 26th top team in the country. That's kind of an interesting feeling, right?
Yeah, no, that was. I think, I definitely the fact that me alone could get 26, like makes me really hopeful for next year,
Yeah.
especially if we have like a women's team go. So yeah, that definitely made me feel really excited for like next year's nationals.
Well, anything else you want to mention about the meet we haven't got to talk about yet?
I would just say I'm really like proud of everyone. I would say that was like a really fun experience being on a team where like people were breaking national records and like winning national titles. So getting to see like the Bates swim team like be represented like that, and getting to like swim with somewhat like the best people literally in the country, and like seeing what they do for warm up and what they do to eat and like sleep and rest and everything was really a good experience. So definitely gonna miss the seniors going into next year, but I'm really excited that we have a lot of returning juniors that are probably going to go to nationals next year, like John Weigel,
Yep.
Tim Johnson, and Liam. So I'm excited to see us like kind of step into that leadership role.
Sounds good. Sarah Palmer is now a 6-time All-American, 6th place at 200 breast, best ever finished by a Bobcat at the NCAA Championships in that event. Thanks so much for joining us on the Bobcast. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
The track and field teams traveled to Atlanta over the break for their first outdoor meet of the season, and first-year George Klatsky wasted no time breaking the modern-day Bates record in the javelin with his throw of 215 feet, 11 inches. Well, George, before we talk about your huge javelin throw there this weekend at Emory, tell me a little bit about yourself. Falmouth, Maine, growing up, Falmouth High School. How did you first get into track and field and throwing in the first place?
So I started young. I was 8 years old when I started throwing. You know, my mom did track in high school. She wasn't very good, but you know, she kind of was like, "Oh, well, you know, try this out. We have a summer program." Got to my first meet, got 5th, and I was like, "Oh, you know, it's kind of fun." And I got to the next meet, placed first, and then the rest is history.
Yeah, and there's different throwing events. So what throws were you doing at that young age?
Oh, I did every event. It wasn't just throws.
Oh,
Yeah,
you did every event. Okay.
I competed in everything up to
Yeah.
10K. I think at this point I've done just about everything, yeah.
Interesting. So running and throwing. So when you decided on Bates, were you coming in thinking, okay, I'm just going to focus on throwing now? Or how was that process going, I guess?
Well, the switch happened around freshman year of high school,
Okay,
where
okay,
I was like, okay, well, I opened up at 130 feet, and everyone was like, oh, you know what? That's kind of a good throw. And I was like, oh, I suppose I'll be a thrower now.
Was the javelin something you did a lot then in high school?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I've been working hard to get pretty good at that throughout all high school.
And then coming to Bates, what made Bates the place for you? What made you decide you wanted to come here?
Well, I knew the coach,
Okay.
Coach Kalina.
Yep.
I kind of had background. Honestly, it was kind of just capitalizing on opportunity. I knew I could get in here. I knew I could throw for the team, and I was kind of like just taking the chance.
And then indoor season looks like you were focused exclusively on shot put during the indoor. So tell me a little bit about how that went in terms of, I saw you set a collegiate best, at least at the Maine State meet, which was a good time to do it. But tell me a little bit about working on the shot put this winter here.
Oh, yeah, it was really fun. Yeah, I've been throwing shot put since I was 8 years old as well.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a little bit smaller in stature, so it makes it hard to, have that as my main event. But I work on it just as hard as I did javelin, if not more, during the indoor season.
Yeah.
Had fun with it. Got a pretty good mark out there that I can be proud of. I still did work on javelin in the indoor season.
Sure.
We throw against the nets, practice technique and all that. With a little bit of a heavier implement.
So I bet you were looking forward, though, to the outdoor meet. What was it like going down to Atlanta? What was that trip like for the team?
Oh, it was a lot of fun. Yeah. And we got to explore Georgia a good bit too. We got out to Atlanta on Thursday. Just beautiful weather, freaking 75, sunny, little bit of a breeze that kind of cools you down, which is good because I'm not used to that sort of heat. But everything was amazing. I loved it.
Excellent. Then obviously the meet went really well. You took first in the javelin with a school record throw. Now I often ask first years, like, because we only have their college results. Is that your best ever, or did you throw it even farther in high school?
No, that's my best ever.
It's your best ever, yeah.
Yeah, that was like a 10-meter PR.
Okay,
That was a big one.
So what kind of all came together that day for you, you think?
I mean, well, so in high school, I kind of had a rather unfortunate senior year. I kind of got injured, pulled my oblique a couple of times, long recovery. Anyway, I wasn't very healthy. And so throughout the summer and kind of leading into freshman year, I'm actually able to train at my full capacity. I'm able to move really well. And it's kind of just a culmination of, I think I had it in me maybe a couple years ago to throw close to 200. It's just everything's kind of coming together now, and I'm able to put something together here.
Did you know it was a Bates record, or
I did know it was a Bates
You
record.
did?
I was looking at it.
you were
I
looking
was
at it? Yeah.
I knew exactly what it was because I knew I was going to throw maybe in and around 60-ish meters.
hmm
And so I was like, okay, well, maybe I can get close to, if not break the record this meet.
Yeah.
65-85 was a little unexpected. I was really proud of that.
Yeah. What was that moment like? I mean, did you like celebrate with your coach, your teammates, or you had another throw left? I think, right?
I did have one more throw left. Yeah. Well, and so earlier in the meet, I threw 63.
I saw that. Yeah. Yeah.
So that originally broke the record.
Right.
So I started like doing flips and everything, celebrating the team and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then we get into finals, and then it happened again. And I don't even know. I was just ecstatic.
Yeah.
I was, I was just overjoyed. I was just flipping about, and I had kind of forgotten about the final throw at that point. I just got out there and kind of chucked it.
And then what's it like being on this team? I mean, your first year. Tell me a little bit about being on a college team compared to maybe high school, perhaps.
So in high school, I didn't really have teammates
Okay.
for javelin.
Oh, for jav,
I
right?
was the only javelin thrower on the team, so
Okay,
it's kind of like
by
I
yourself.
have someone to train with now, which
Yeah.
is really nice.
Yeah.
And actually having we didn't have a javelin coach in high school either,
Mm-hmm.
so that probably helped me quite a bit to achieve such a far mark. Like actually having people to be there and be like, oh, this is what's wrong.
Yeah.
Like I know a good bit about javelin. I can kind of look at my own throws and be like, yeah, no, I can improve there, but I miss stuff. And
Yeah.
having other people around to be like, no, this is what's missing, and then I can actually make that improvement and know for certain that I'm becoming better rather than kind of just guessing and watching YouTube videos.
Right, and so that's Coach Kalina, obviously.
Coach Kalina,
Yep.
Aiden,
Yep.
Alec, all my people out there
Yeah.
throwing on the javelin runway.
So you knew Coach Kalina previously? So
I did,
what's
yeah.
that? How did you first meet him?
Yeah. Well, because I was looking for a javelin coach. 'Cause
right.
I didn't have one. And
Yeah.
so I don't actually remember exactly how it all started. I think my mom was like, yo, there's a guy in Lewiston, and he's a javelin coach for Bates. I was like, well, can I throw with him? I worked with him starting sophomore year, I believe. And I've been doing like a couple weekend practices, trying to be consistent. It's tough. It's not a bit of a drive, but matching that with school and
Sure.
the actual current track season I was dealing with, having two separate places I got to go to travel can be a bit of a mess.
So would you come to Bates in high school to work
Oh
on?
yeah.
Oh,
I drive
okay.
it. It's not that far. It's
Yeah.
like a 40-minute drive. But
So this place was already pretty familiar to you.
yeah.
Yeah. So that must have been nice, coming to a place you're already familiar with and everything.
Mhm.
What did you learn most from Coach Kalina? What did he taught you the most about javelin? What's been, you had this breakthrough. What's maybe specifically what you've been working on, perhaps?
It's really just a culmination of a lot of little things because I kind of already have a really good base.
Yeah.
And it's just a matter of learning like, oh, how does this all get put together? And having someone to actually make corrections and lead me in the right path. That's really what helped me out the most, I would say.
Yeah, and I looked at your mark. I mean, last year I think this would have been good for top 8 at nationals and stuff. Are you
Yeah.
excited? Are you already looking forward to possibly going to nationals?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be a lot of fun. No, that's making nationals every
Yeah.
year. So
Yeah.
it's gonna be good. It's gonna be so fun.
Nice way to start the outdoor season, certainly.
Right?
Yeah, 215 feet, 11 inches, 65.82 meters. If you prefer the metric system, George Klatsky is now the modern-day record holder in the javelin here at Bates. And thanks so much for joining us on Bobcast. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
The baseball and softball teams both traveled to Florida last week, and both teams returned to Maine with winning records. For the baseball team, it's a little more than your typical winning record, as they are now 10-1 on the season. It's the best start through 11 games in program history, which dates back to 1872. Senior John Tully has been a big part of it, winning his first 4 starts of the season while only walking 1 batter in 23 innings pitched and sporting a 1.17 ERA. John Tully back from sunny Florida, where the Bobcats went 4-0 over the weekend. They're 10-1 now on the season. You pitched in the final game there, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run. 1 walk. You hadn't walked one walk now in 4 starts. 5 strikeouts in that game. For you personally, off to such a great start. I mean, obviously throwing strikes has been key, but tell me a little bit about what steps you've taken this year to improve even on last season where you obviously had a really good, season in NESCAC play and everything. So
I think the main difference was like obviously last year it was like a slow start. Definitely like we definitely struggled a lot, and then like I think pitching as a whole, like we progressively got a lot better as the year went on. And like the main thing that I wanted to like focus on this year was just like being ready from day one. So just like think about what worked well last year. Like once I started to get ahead more, then like be confident like throwing like in and out to anyone. That's like when I started to have more success. And then I played baseball in a pretty good league this summer. It was competitive. And like I got a lot of different opportunities there. Like I wasn't starting then, so like I just had to be ready to like come in any role, which was like different, but it was fun. So I think just like being prepared to like just like do like my job and like what I can control like really helped a lot then. And then I've kind of just carried that into the start of this year.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about your summer baseball league experience. Where did you compete in? Were there any other Bates players there? Any other NESCAC players there?
Yeah, so I played this summer in Worcester for the Worcester Bravehearts. It was pretty cool because I went to high school in Worcester, so it was close to home. I'd say on my team to start the year, I think I was the only NESCAC player, but towards the end of the year, like in this league, like there's a lot of roster like switcher, like people come in and out like every week. So I think there was another kid from Colby by the end of the year, and then Charlie Cariello, I think he signed a contract maybe in the middle of July for another team in that league, so I saw him a few times. But yeah, it was definitely competitive. Like there's a lot of New England kids, a couple NESCAC kids in the league, and then just some like D2, D1s, and then other D3s. So it was a good league. It was pretty cool. Like a lot of people would go to the games. Up in Vermont, we would go there a few times. Like they would have a few thousand every game. Like it's a big thing up there. So just playing like, in those environments is pretty cool.
And it's wood bat, right?
Yes, it was.
So for a pitcher, is it nice to be able to like pitch inside with some confidence?
Yeah, I mean wood bats are cool because like, there's a lot less of the like flares or like when you like beat a batter and they flare it. So like then you just see the bat break, which is it's fun and it's just a little easier. Like they really have to beat you if you're gonna throw inside.
Yeah, and this past game here, for you, as I mentioned, 6 innings, and then Diego actually came in relief and got the save. He's a starting pitcher though normally. So what was it like to have him kind of use him as kind of a tag team in that game?
Yeah, it was pretty cool. Yeah. I think it was just like the way the schedule was. We pitched on Sunday, and then we got to split the game, which was awesome. It was cool, just like knowing he was going to come in like after me, and then like I got in a little trouble in the 6th inning. And, like it was fine because like I knew if I couldn't finish the inning, he was gonna come right in and do the job. So it was pretty cool to have that. And
as a pitcher, it must be nice to get all this run support. I mean, the team is really piling up some runs. What's that? That's got to add a lot of confidence for you to you immediately have the lead, right? That's got to be a good feeling.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like almost every game I've thrown this year, we've scored a few runs within the first like 2 or 3 innings at the latest. So it's awesome. I mean, we have the lead pretty early on, and it helps you a lot as a pitcher. Like gives you a lot more confidence, and like if you give up a base runner like early, it's not the end of the world because you'll have a little run support anyways. But still trying to get out of that jam.
Yeah, certainly. And now we've got NESCAC play starting up, I believe this weekend, right? You're at Trinity. It's interesting because the baseball season on the surface is a long season, but in reality, for NESCAC play at least, it's a short season. It's 12 games, so every game is huge. What are your thoughts? You gained a lot of experience last year in the rotation. What are your thoughts on NESCAC play coming up?
Yeah, it's definitely exciting. I mean, it's 12 games, so what we've done before it really doesn't matter. It's just these like 12 games are like basically our season. So yeah, I think our team's in a really good spot. Like we have a lot of confidence. We've got great momentum, and I think we're just like ready to compete. And we've seen like what the league plays like. Like we've seen a lot of the arms and lineups. So I think we're in a good spot. From
your first year to now as a senior, I can't believe you're a senior already.
Yeah.
What's been the biggest aspect of your game that you think you've improved on from the moment you stepped here to now, kind of?
I think just like being able to command like every pitch I have. Like I feel like that's the biggest jump, and I feel like this year especially like fastball and off speed, been like pretty good command of that, and that's helped with the success.
It's interesting. Last year, I remember you pitched in a game against MIT where their pitcher was like a Major League Baseball prospect. So they were like scouts there and stuff. But you went toe to toe with him there. Was that a big confidence builder that game?
I mean, I guess so. I think it was more in the sense like that was one of my like first like good starts at Bates. Like I was able to go deep in the game, and like that sense alone was more of the confidence than just matching up with him. But when looking back at it, yeah, that was definitely pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. And then what's this team like this year? What was the trip down to Florida like? Give me a little bit behind the scenes of what this ball club's like this year.
Yeah, so the trip to Florida was great. I mean, we got there on Tuesday, hung out for a little bit, and then we just had 4 games. You know, we could wake up in the morning, relax a little bit, head to the field. And then we just had a couple team dinners. Like, we just hang out in the houses down there together. We're definitely, like, a close group. We hang out a lot. And we have a lot of fun. And it's just, like, one of the closest teams I've ever been on.
And to be 10-1, that's something no base baseball team. I had to go to the archives to look this up because it's 1872 was the first year. No base baseball team has ever been 10-1 through 11 games. What's that mean to make that history, kind of? You know?
Yeah, it's pretty cool to think about. Like, it's definitely interesting to think like no one else has ever done that. So it's just awesome. I mean, we've like taken care of the games we've needed to, and we've played well. So I feel like it's just like a nice, almost like reward for like our efforts and results.
Yeah, absolutely. John Tully, senior pitcher, so far this year, 4-0, 1.17 ERA. The Bobcats on a roll. They've won 9 straight games. They're scheduled for a home game this Wednesday at 3 o'clock against Maine Farmington. Stay up to date on our Instagram on GoBatsBobcats.com for any changes there, but home game still on the schedule for this Wednesday, and then at Trinity in Hartford. Check out that as well, and then back home on April 1st against St. Joseph's. The thick of the baseball season just getting started, but Bates off to a historic start, 10-1. John, thanks so much for joining the Bobcast. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
The softball team is 5-4 and being led offensively so far by sophomore Maddy Miller, who hit .421 over their spring break trip, hitting her first home run of her collegiate career as well. After almost exclusively playing defense last year, Miller talks about getting her back going early this season.
I really focus on just having the mentality of you're going to get on base, not even just getting hits. I think the walks are super important, like being really mindful of the strikes that I'm swinging at. And also, I have been bunting a lot this year, which has been super good for my success. But yeah, I would just say having a lot more confidence than I did freshman year and more experience at the plate just really helped with my success.
We mentioned bunting, but you also hit a home run. Was your first collegiate home run, if I'm not mistaken. And how many did you ever hit in high school? Is that a rare occurrence for you? Or is that something we're going to see more often, perhaps?
Well, in high school, it was definitely a rare occurrence. I think I hit maybe 2 in my high school career. But you know what? I'd say I'd like to start doing this more often. So we'll see how that goes.
What did you see on that pitch? Do you remember?
I think it was low. That's usually where I have my good hits is when I can really like scoop down and get it. But you know, after the ball hit the bat, I thought that it was going to be a pop up to center field. So when it went over, I was just super excited. Excellent.
Yeah. What's that like celebrating at home plate with your teammates and everything? They all swarm around, right?
Yeah. It's the most amazing feeling, like especially running around third, and my coach was just so excited for me. And then seeing all my teammates being so supportive. It's incredible.
So for the team, 5-4 trip there to Florida. I mean, solid start to the year. What are you seeing from this team? It's a pretty experienced squad, right?
Yeah. We're a pretty old team. We have like a lot of juniors and seniors playing, which I think is great because they've all played together for so long that the chemistry on the field is great, and also the support from inside the dugout is one of our greatest supports. Like in the games, I think is we have a really loud dugout, and we hope for the success of our teammates more than ourselves. And I think that's the most important thing for us is just being there for each other on and off the field and being great friends. But I think it's going to bring us far. And we were lucky to have a challenging schedule in Florida, which I think is going to really prepare us for our NESCAC weekend that's coming up really quickly.
Yeah, because you kind of never know what to expect in terms of the competition level, right? Because these schools we never play, like from all over the country. That's kind of interesting, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think we could go down there and love to see, 8 to 10 wins. That would be great. But I don't think that's going to help us grow in the ways that we need to.
Now, you're a sophomore, but you're from Maine. You're a Mainer, Oxford Hills. In fact, when I first heard you were coming to Bates, I thought, oh, she's coming to play basketball. Because I remember I broadcast some of the Oxford Hills girls basketball back in the day. But no, it's softball. But you were a 3-sport athlete in high school, right? Soccer too?
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about that experience being a 3-sport athlete in high school and what made you decide, okay, softball is what I kind of want to pursue further here.
I think that being a 3-sport athlete was actually one of the ways that has helped me be the most successful in softball in college, because I never got burnt out of one sport, and I think it helped just my athleticism with many different skills playing basketball and soccer. And The reason why I picked softball was just because the opportunities were there. I think the Oxford Hills softball program really prepared me the best for collegiate softball, and it's a game that I really enjoy, and I'm so grateful to have the opportunity to play at Bates.
Yeah, and we were looking at schools. What made Bates the place for you? I mean, staying close to home here.
Yeah, when I was doing my college search, I was not expecting to go to Lewiston for college from Oxford Hills, but I think the thing that really changed it for me was having my overnight trip and meeting Coach McKay and just the environment and the professors here and the small class sizes and just all of those things together made Bates the right choice for me.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about what you are studying here at Bates. We have you as biochemistry major.
Yes, I am a biochemistry major and a math minor right now. And my goal is to become a pediatrician. I'd love to be a physician in Maine and serve the communities that have helped raise me.
Is that something you've kind of had a vision of for a long time now?
Yeah. Ever since I was a kid, I thought I would probably go into the medical field. And after doing some more job shadowing, I know that the clinical side of it is really what's best for me.
Hopefully at some point we will be having some home games here. We're scheduled to have a doubleheader this Wednesday against Mavs. It might be a little tricky. And then Amherst noon. Those games will happen somewhere. But tell me a little bit about playing at home. What's the support like from your peers and the fans in general? And obviously 50 years of Bates softball is an exciting celebration as well, right?
Yeah, we're really excited to have some home games this year. I remember last year, one of my best memories from the season was our first home series and all the parents put together like a barbecue and a lot of students showed up. And it's great to have that home game support. I think it makes a big difference in the energy levels of the entire team. And we are super excited about the 50 years of softball celebration. That's also going to be the same day as our senior day. So it will be a very big celebration. Saturday,
May 2nd, that's a doubleheader against Trinity. Yeah, you mentioned senior day and 50 years of Bates softball. As a sophomore, what are you kind of learning from the seniors? I mean, there's actually last year we only had one senior, but there's a fair number of them this year, right?
Yeah. We have some really amazing leaders on the team that are seniors. It's going to be super hard to not have them, but I think they do a great job like leading the positive chemistry that we have and also driving in that the biggest thing is that we're going to love each other and we're going to support each other. And yes, this is a competitive league and competitive sport. That's a very tough mental game sometimes, but we're going to have fun and we're going to celebrate each other's wins and also pick each other up when things don't go well.
You know, it's interesting. You played second base last year, second base again this year. It reminds me of Emma Yen, who was, as a first year, played second base, but rarely got a chance to hit. And then sophomore year had a breakout season. Have you talked with her a little bit about, that transition of going from just defense to also hitting?
Yeah, she's an incredible supporter. Last year, she was always helping me get my reps in and be great about that. But yeah, she's a great teammate, and I'm really grateful to have her. Has
second base always been your position, kind of?
No.
Oh.
I never played second base in high school ever until I got to college. So it was... I was a pitcher for a while in high school and I played third base, but the transition to second base has been incredible. I have loved playing the position. It's so fun. I feel like I'm involved in a lot of different plays and I think my height comes to my advantage in terms of like pop flies and stuff.
What was the conversation like with coach when she was like, I want you to play second base? You've never played there before, but I want you there.
I think she knew that I'd be willing to play wherever she needed. So she's like, hey, we're going to try you here. And I was like, all right, let's do it. Like, it can't be that different, right?
So you were a pitcher for a while.
Yes.
As a hitter now, I mean, does your pitching experience, does that help your hitting?
I do think it helps because as a pitcher, you're always thinking, like, how am I going to confuse this batter? And I really liked that part of pitching, sort of the problem solving of what's working, what's not working. So, I mean, as a hitter, I could say, I can anticipate that maybe they'll throw a change up, at a time that some might not expect. But again, it was a little bit ago,
And then we have a number of pitchers on this team, which Kat was talking about how it's kind of rare in softball to have this many pitchers. So what's that like, because there's a little bit, I mean, as a fielder, you're working with them in terms of like, knowing where they're going to maybe try to get people to hit the ball if they are going to put it in play, right?
Yeah, definitely. We're really lucky to we have 6 very strong pitchers on our team, which for one thing, it's great at practice because all throughout preseason, we were able to hit live and read pitches, which I think really helped us once we got to Florida. But yes, there are definitely, they all have different styles. So there are a couple pitchers that I know the ball comes to me more frequently, which is great. And sometimes I know, like, hey, they ground out a lot, or this pitcher makes them pop up to right, sort of in between me and right field. So just we communicate a lot. Like, that's a huge thing we do, and I think that helps us be really successful.
Great. Well, any other thoughts you wanted to share about the season opening trip to Florida? It's like, it was 9 games this year. Normally it's 10, but like a lot of games in a short amount of time, right?
Yeah, it's definitely really busy when you get down there, but it's sort of, we're all used to this summer tournament ball from when we were growing up. So it kind of feels like that, which makes it really fun.
Excellent. Maddy Miller, thank you so much for joining us on the Bobcast. Really appreciate it. Off to a great start at the plate. 421 batting average through the first 9 games. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
A reminder, fans, to stay up to date on all the latest Bates Athletics news, go to GoBatesBobcats.com. And with swimming wrapped up, it's officially all spring sports from now until June. And we'll talk to you next time on the Bates Bobcast.